All right, so good evening, guys. This video that I'm gonna do right now is about the thing that I hear a lot nowadays, the passport bros. I heard about these people like a while ago, and I never really understood what exactly was going on with what they were doing and stuff like that. So I did a little my research and stuff, and there are some things that I want to talk about that I don't agree with a lot of stuff that they say, and to point out that some of these guys could be, mentally unstable, or people who think like that. One of the first things that I usually hear why a lot of these guys like to do passport or go overseas or whatever is because you mostly hear this because most of the passport bros, they're mostly predominantly, men from my race, they're black, and they talk about how they would go after women of their group, but the women did not want them, or they preferred to be with the drug dealers and the gangsters and the guys who smoke and stuff like that. And what I came to notice is that most of the black girls that they were going after were like the hood ones, like the hood archetype type of black girls. And me, I'm from North Miami, and I grew up around that area, all that type of stuff. But even at a young age, I knew that I'm not a hood nigga. So naturally, I'm gonna go after a woman that is of my cloth. So, like for instance, I wouldn't go after the hood black girl. I would mostly go after the clean nosed black girl. You know what I'm saying? Because we are both cut from the same cloth. I'm not a hood nigga, so it doesn't make any sense for me to go after a hood girl. Because how I know that they're talking about the hood black girls is because, once again, yes, are there other races of women or other groups of women, whether they be geeky or goth, that do go for hood guys? Yeah, but typically hood girls are gonna go for hood niggas. That's just how it goes. That's what they go for. So when they would talk about the guys that they would get turned down for, I'm thinking to myself, why didn't you go after the woman of your archetype? Because if you notice, they'll go after the hood girl, but then they'll date like the geeky white girl, or if they're like a clean nosed brother, they'll date a clean nosed Asian girl. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't understand this. You went after the hood black girl, but you ended up going and dating the clean nosed white girl. Why didn't you go after the clean nosed black girl first? Why didn't you go after her? And if you're gonna go after the hood black girl, why didn't you go after the hood white girl, the hood Latina? Because if they went after those women, they would have probably told them the same thing that the hood black girl told them. And I know it's a lot of times, especially people who only like to interracially date. Like for me, to me, it doesn't really matter. Like I like pussy. Well, a naturally, biologically born vagina. Now, no surgically created type of shit. Like you have to be a naturally born female. You know what I'm saying? You got to be specific on these type of stuff. No shit against those people, but that's just not what I like. That's not my cup of tea. But I don't mind, dating and dealing and having sex with other races of women. That's not a problem. The issue is when these people only specifically want to date outside their race. And what I notice why a lot of people frown upon interracial dating a lot is because usually one or both parties are dating that individual because something traumatic happened to them with the opposite gender of their said race. So instead of them acknowledging that situation, they pretty much are too traumatized by it, or they'll use it as leverage to go away from the race. Because some people just naturally they just don't like themselves. You got white girls that just don't like white men, Hispanic girls, Asian girls. Pretty much every other culture says the exact same thing, but the difference is that they have enough respect to not put it out there like that, the way that our people do it, because there's really no order and no structure in our community. And I remember when I would date, or I would go fuck with white women or Hispanic women or women that were not black, they would tell me, oh, I remember one of the girls, her was Hannah, she was like, oh, you just like white girls, huh? And I was like, nah, like I'm actually chilling with you because I actually kick it with you. And she was like, you serious? And I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, why is this such a shock? And she was like, well, I'm so used to dealing with black guys. I talk about, the women suck, or, white girls are better, or whatever like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I may say that you're better than the girls that I dated. If we really get along, I'll say that. But to say that you're better than my people in a collective, if I'm going to sit here and say that white women or Hispanic women or any woman of another demographic is better than my said race of women, then that's also me admitting that your men are better than me. I mean, once again, Latinas don't exist without Latinos. Asian girls don't exist without Asian men. White men don't exist without white girls. So if you're going to say that one group is better than the opposite gender of your said race, then the opposite gender of that race that you're elevating, they're that group is better than you. So that's why for me, it just never made any sense why people would think like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just weird. And I never, I would notice some of the white girls, like one of them, her name was Violet, they feel like it's a flex to be like, well, I can't stand white men and all this stuff. And I never really liked that, because to me, I love my people. I'm just fucking with you because I actually like you. And you have to understand, whoever you date is a reflection of yourself. So if you're dating someone that doesn't like their people, then that's an automatic reflection of you. So I never really felt anything when I would hear them say that, but they thought it was a flex because, they're so used to dealing with brothers that like that. I just don't like that because, once again, it's a very weird stereotype. It's nothing cool about that. Like, I just don't like it at all because I love my people. And usually people who think like that, like I said before, are psychologically fucked up. Going to that girl that said that about she doesn't like white men, her name was Violet, and our first date that we went on, she was within 30 minutes of our date, she's talking about, yeah, bro, I can't wait to have biracial children and all this stuff. And I'm just saying, like, bitch, we only been on a date for like 30 minutes. What we talking about biracial kids for? And she was like, well, no, see, what happened is that, I got raped by a white guy and it traumatized me and blah, blah, blah. So that's why I don't really deal with white men and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, you do know that a black guy can rape you, right? You do know that a white guy, a Hispanic guy can rape you, an Asian guy can rape you, an Arab man can rape you. Like, any race of man can rape you. It's not just your only men. And for you to demonize all your men for that one guy, again, I can't tell you how to handle that trauma that you went through, but to label your entire group of men because of one guy, that doesn't make any sense to me. But I said to myself, let me just sit back and let me see this shit. Let me observe real quick. And then, because again, I want to observe people who thought like that. So then again, she brings up the fact that she can't stand white men, and I'm like, you do understand that I'm talking to you because I actually like you for you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I get nothing when you tell me that you hate white men, and actually it raises up a red flag for me, because if you don't like your own people, that's very, very alarming for me, because once again, there's something like you just said, man, you got raped, and that's a trauma that you have not fully healed from yet, and you think that by demonizing them that you're going to try to make me feel better, but it doesn't make me feel better at all, because I love my people. And once again, like I said, whoever you date is a reflection of you. And women like her, they get so puzzled because they're not used to seeing brothers think like that, especially a dark-skinned nigga at that. They're used to niggas like me elevating them and talking about the white queen or the Latina queen. I'm like, the only queen in my life is my mother. You know what I'm saying? Because she nurtured me and she raised me, and she got with my father, who's a great man, who pretty much provided me wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. So, that's the only queen in my life. So once again, I'm saying, look, once again, let me just observe this shit. So then it goes on to her talking about, once again, about the biracial kids. And I said, look, I don't want to hear this shit, man. I don't want to keep hearing this. So it fast forward to us going to my apartment. We're watching a movie called Shaft. And then she touches my nose and she's like, I'm so happy you don't have an African big nose. Once again, she only dates black guys. Only dates black men. This is why I always tell people, when you're dealing with people that only want to date outside their race, whether they want to or not, they're going to let out their real self, and they don't even know that they're doing it. The bitch don't really realize how much of a closet prejudiced racist that she is. But because that white guy betrayed her trust, now it's hard for her to pretty much close it in, because it's always been there. But she doesn't want to do it with the white guy because, once again, he broke her heart. But at the end of the day, she is still the same white trash that guy is, because that nature has not really escaped, because it's always been there. So then we go to the beach, and then she starts to play fight with me. Now everybody who knows me knows that I wear my emotions on my face, so I really can't hide it. So she starts to play fight with me. I'm like, yo man, chill man, you're gonna get the police to come after you. And she's like, well, you're the one fighting a white girl. You see that mindset? Now here's the thing, a lot of the passport bros, they've gone through these similar situations, but they don't talk about it. They're like, oh, it's okay, let's have a conversation, and baby, why are you thinking like that? I'm not the nigga to deal with that shit. Like, it's done. We good. She ended up hitting me up, but I just kept around the fuck. But I never took that girl serious. I'm like, this is how you keep finding these guys who get killed by these type of women. They get thrown into court because of these type of women, all because of that mindset. But like I said before, the reason why people frown upon interracial dating is because one or two or both of the parties within that union, they're dating for the wrong reason. They're dating in a way to say fuck you to their race. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why you hear a lot of passport bros say that they want to date outside their race, but people frown upon that because, again, they know that you're doing it because you got your heart broken, or you're using some sort of little thing that happened in the past as leverage to go after someone else outside your race because you just don't like yourself. So then the next thing that I usually hear is that, oh well, the other races of women, they know how to condone themselves and all this stuff. And I remember even back in the days, because I remember this like old white lady asked me this in Dunkin' Donuts. She was like, how come black guys only want to date white girls? Like, what's up with that? And I was thrown off with that shit. I was like, I don't really know. So I went to go click and I looked it up. And whenever I would see these people talk like this, like let's say if it's like a black guy that says he only dates Latinas or white girls, he was like, well, white girls don't argue. I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean white girls don't argue? Have you not seen The Real Housewives? Have you not seen fucking what's that show called again back in the days? The Real World. Like, you can literally go on YouTube and find white girls arguing left and right. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh no, dog. Well, what I'm saying is that they also have good credit. I'm like, oh, so you mean to tell me you can't get good credit on yourself? And why are you looking towards a woman to have good credit? Aren't you the man? Shouldn't you be the one to be leading the household? I mean, if she has good credit, that's an added bonus, but you should have good credit yourself. Then you hear, oh, these girls, they know how to suck dick. That's one of the main things you always heard back in the days was that, the white girls know how to suck dick. And I'm just thinking to myself, I didn't know that sucking dick was a trait that was only for one race. I thought if the bitch practices well enough, she can suck the dick. So I'm like, what is the reason why you like to date outside your race? And then once again, they can't give me a reason. Everything is vanity. Same thing with the women. They'll be like, oh, I only date black guys because, they know how to dance. So white boys can't dance? Oh, no, well, they can dance, but black guys dress real good. So white boys don't know how to dress? I mean, you could look in the Calvin Klein magazine. They could dress too. What are you talking about? Well, you guys got that dick though. Bitch, first of all, you do understand that the average vagina when aroused is 4 inches. 4 inches when aroused. The average male penis is 6 inches when erected, okay? So you do not need an 8+ inch cock to arouse a 4-inch vagina when most women are going to climax through clit stimulation. Why are you being like that? I was just giving you a comment. No, bitch, you're not complimenting me. You're not. Everything you just mentioned was vanity. That's not a compliment to me. That's disrespectful. When you're dealing with someone who has respect for themselves, when they hear you say stuff like that, it's going to turn them off. It's going to be like, so you just asked me because I'm a fetish? Like I'm a toy? It's creepy. I'm going to show you a little clip from one of these guys who pretty much is like a big supporter of the Passport Bros. He goes by the name of O'Shea Duke. And it was, I'm going to play the video. I'm going to show you the video real quick. Hold up. Wish this thing would turn around. It won't do it. Okay, but so listen to this real quick. Just listen real quick.
And we're gonna see if she's submissive. Let's play that clip.
So I know a lot of these Passport Bros, and especially black men, are in my comments asking me why I'm talking about this. It's not my fight. And before anything, I'm a woman, so I'm always going to stand up for women regardless of race. And one thing that really bothers me about this is these same Passport Bros are the men who probably tried to hit on me in the US before they realized that we don't like them either. I'm from a town that really doesn't have that many Asian women, especially Asian women who look like me. Like I said, you guys, I'm adopted. I grew up in a white family in the Midwest, so I have no beauty standards from South Korea. I'm a thick woman. I weigh about 165 pounds. I'm 5'5", so honestly, the brothers like to holler, and they still do. Regardless of what some men in the comments are trying to say, that black men aren't checking for Asian women. Yeah, right. Check my DMs. But anyway, pretty much every time I met a black man, he thought it would be a flex to say something like, yeah, I like my women foreign. I like my women exotic. And I don't know why they decided to say that to me, if they thought it would make me feel good or something, but for me, it's always a red flag. And so I would dig in a little bit further and say, well, what do you mean by that? Like, because I'm a white girl on the inside. My family is white. I grew up in a white community in a small town in the Midwest, so I might look exotic, but I'm Wonder Bread white on the inside. So anyway, whenever these guys would say this, I'd be like, well, you're about to be in for a big disappointment if you're expecting a submissive, docile Asian to take care of you.
So based on that, we can see that, well, she isn't the most submissive lady in the world. But what about a woman that is from overseas? That could be a completely different story.
According to these guys, now, you heard what that woman just said. She literally said the exact same thing that I said when I came across that white girl or multiple races of women who are outside my race that would come to me and talk about, yeah, you know, I like the chocolate brothers, or, you know, I like my men dark skin and all this stuff. It's creepy. When you're dealing with people that have respect for themselves, they look at that as a creepy thing because, again, they understand what's associated with that. Now, according to him, now I like some of O'Shea Duke's video. I like the booty clapping sounds, you know, that's funny and all that stuff. But most of the stuff that these guys say is just fucking ridiculous. She's not a submissive wife because she called them out for their bullshit. She called them out. You approaching a woman, it's not like he approached the girl like, man, you know, because, okay, you know, black men, we love thick women. When I say thick, I'm talking about like flat stomach, curves, natural curves, not no implants, and a nice booty. I don't know where the fuck women got this idea that if your belly covers your coochie, that you're thick. No, you're not. You're fat. There's nothing wrong with you being, well, health-wise, there is something wrong with that. But, you know, there's some people who like that type of body type, and that's good. But when we talk about thick, we're talking about like the Uche Emba, like a Beyonce or Kelly Rowland or fucking Persephone. If you watch any of Big John's videos, that's what we're talking about. Okay, so yes, if you are a woman of another race and that have that similar body type, of course, men like myself are gonna approach. But that's not what he did. He approached her like, yeah, you know, I like my exotic girls and all that stuff. And now he would say, you know what, man, I love my women thick. You know what I'm saying? I like that stuff. Then she would have came at him a different way because he's like, okay, you're just going after the body type. That's okay. But when you're coming after the specific race, again, there's something negative associated with that because most people who do that, like Violet, like Hannah, Hannah's not mentally fucked up. Hannah was just shocked that I wasn't one of those black guys that was like, oh my gosh, the white girl is queen. I just like you for you. But usually people that strictly want to date outside their race and talk about, I like this and I like that, it comes off the creepy because when you're dealing with people, like I said before, that are raised correctly, that actually love their people, that were actually raised to be men and women, when you come at us with that mindset, we're going to turn you off immediately because that is a huge red flag. But according to him, that's not submissive. So this is why people look at you like they're crazy. Like, what are you looking for submissive for? Because you're saying the woman's not submissive because she questioned your reasoning for coming at her with the way that you came at her, which has a historical context behind that. Now she's not submissive. This is why people look at these guys like crazy. You feel me? Like, once again, there's no shade against O'Shea. It's just that those comments, it just comes off as creepy. Okay? So the next thing that you'll hear is that they'll be like, well, you know, the other races of women, they respect their men more and all that stuff. How do you think that they respect their men, though? Like, when you really think about it, how do you think they get that level to respect their men? It comes from their men. Like, the best example I can put it to you, let's say if you have Chrissy, the white girl that comes to school, right? And I'm the principal, I call her parents. I call the parents in for a parent-teacher conference, right? So then the mother comes in. And then I'm like, oh, is the husband coming? Oh, yes, the father's outside. He's coming back. He just had to go get something in the car. So me as a principal, I know that there's a 2-parent household. I got it. So then I informed them that, do you know that Chrissy has not been doing her homework and all that type of stuff? And they're looking at me like, you know, what do you mean Chris hasn't been doing her homework? I mean, we always make sure she does her homework. We always make sure we tuck her in the bed. We always make sure that we give her life lessons. So I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, so you guys actually raised your children. Yeah, we always do this. So now me as a principal, I see that everything is in order in the household. So now I got to put the onus on the child because there really is no reason for Chrissy to be acting up because her parents have provided her everything that she needs, not wants, but needs to survive. What does this have to do with the whole passport bros, with the passport bros thing? Everything to do with it. Because one of the main things, like I said, they talk about, they say that those women respect their men. When you look at white women, there really is no real reason for white women to disrespect white men. Because of the white man, the white woman is the standard of beauty. Because of the white man, the white woman is also the most protected woman on the planet. And because of the white man, she is also the most financially stable woman on the planet. So there's really no need for them to disrespect their men when their men have created the world to become their playground. Now, the white man did not do this solely for the white girl. He didn't do it for her. He did it for himself because, you know, as men, we live to conquer. That's, if you look throughout the annals of history, men live to conquer other men. So the spoils that we get from our conquering is just an added bonus for our women, because we want to make sure we protect our kingdom, because that's our job as kings and rulers, is to protect our kingdom. That's why when you usually see white girls talk shit about white men, they're usually unattractive, they're fat, and even if they are attractive, they're just doing it for clout. So that's why no one takes those girls serious, because once again, there's really no need for you to disrespect your men when they have provided you literally everything that you need to make a living. If you need to go get a job, you can go and get a job. They got it for you out there. Now, if the roles are reversed and it's Monique or Keisha, the black girl that comes into the principal's office, and then I call the parent. There's one parent. You can pick and choose whether it's a father or it's a mother. So I'm like, it's okay, I mean, one parent can raise a child. There's nothing wrong with that. There's statistics that proves that can happen. So then I inform the parents, did you know that Keisha has not been doing her homework? Is that my problem? Ain't they supposed to be doing that themselves? Ain't they the kid? Ain't that their job? They going to school, not me, right? So now as a principal, I'm like, okay, there's clearly no order in the household. I know that Keisha is acting up. The school knows that Keisha is just acting up. Everybody knows that Keisha is just acting up. But because her parent has no order in the household, usually the decorum of the child is predicated on the parent. So because the parent don't have their shit together, now everything is going to go on to the parent. And it's similar with black women. They're given the leverage to disrespect black men because the black man has no order. The black man has no power. He has no structure. He has nothing. So you can't be shocked that your women are disrespecting you when you have no order. There are black girls who just hate black men. They just don't like black men. There are white girls that don't like white men. There are Asian girls that don't like the Asian men. There are Latinas that don't like Latina men. They exist in every single group. When I was working at Encore, I used to be a table game dude at Encore. And there was this one white boy. He ended up killing himself. I forgot his name, but he ended up committing suicide. And he literally told me in my ear. He didn't come to me like, yeah, baby. He didn't do that, but he had to whisper in my ear because we're trying to pay attention to the crowd. And he was like, yeah, man, these white girls, they tripping, man. I can't stand white women, man. I only deal with Asian girls. This is a white guy who said this shit. And there's a lot of white men that think like that. When I was working at Expeditors in Peabody, there was a Cambodian dude that was like, I only fuck with Dominicans. I don't fuck with no Asian girls, Dominican. So you can clearly see this is in every single culture, but they have enough respect to know that they can't say that shit in public because there's going to be ramifications for saying stuff like that. That's why people don't tend to respect people like that. But my whole point in bringing up the scenario is because they're talking about will the other race of women respect their men? Yes, because their men have the structures and they have the order. You don't have none of that. You don't have it, so you cannot expect your women to give you the same amount of respect that the other nation of women give their men when there's no order in the household. So then they'll probably talk about, okay, but Stanley, remember, we had Black Wall Street. We had Black Wall Street, we had 500 businesses, we had all that. So brother, even when we have something and we don't have something, our women still don't give us respect. That's why we go to the other races of women, bro. That's why we do it, bro. And we did have Black Wall Street, we did. We had 500 businesses, we had a lot of shit. But to the black man, I want you guys to ask yourself a question. What were you fighting for? Now, some people hear this and be like, what the fuck you talking about, nigga? The question says it itself. What were you fighting for? You're fighting for equality. That's your problem. Instead of fighting to keep your infrastructures, instead of fighting to be independent, instead of fighting to make sure that you have these schools and businesses for your seed when they come so that way they can get a job and not have to rob, steal, and kill, you was fighting for equality. What's the problem with fighting with equality? If you notice, you never see parents in university, you never see parents ask to be equal to the child. It's always the children who ask to be equal to the parent because they want to be given more responsibilities than they think that they're able to handle. The parent doesn't have to ask to be equal to the child because the parent already knows that they're superior to the child. They don't have to ask that. If you look at the WNBA, you have a lot of those women in the WNBA talking about they should get equal pay and this, that, and the third, but they're not bringing in the level of revenue that the men are. The men are not going to ask to be equal to them because, once again, their brand is already superior. Usually when people ask to be equal to somebody, they're literally saying that that individual is superior to them. Remember that interview with Ronda Rousey when they were trying to ask her, do you think that it's unfair that women are not getting the same amount of equal pay as men? And Ronda had to reassure, like, first of all, You get what you get and what you can bring in. Rhonda is able to bring in the same level of entertainment, action, and revenue that the men are bringing, so she's able to get the same amount of compensation. Okay, so when you really think about it, when people got their shit together, they're not really asking for equality. I'm Ronda Rousey, and that's fucking John Bone Jones. I don't have to ask to be equal to him because we're bringing in the same amount of money. Now, if I didn't have no money and I was delusional, then yeah, I would ask to be equal to him because he's superior to me. So when black men are sitting here talking about they want to be equal to the white man, what you just told your women is that the white man is superior to you. That's why this equality fight is completely ridiculous. Yes, black women left when the white man brought the welfare checks. Yes, they did do that. But remember what I said about the equality. You was fighting so hard to be equal to the white man that you pretty much let your woman know that he's superior. So now, remember, the woman's thought process is not based in rulership. See, what people need to understand is that women's thought process is based in subservient. They're going to serve whatever race of man is in power. Words from my brother Chronicles of Judah. But what can offset that is when her own nation of men have the resources and income to keep their community stable. And we had all that, but our issue is that we kept fighting to be equal to somebody instead of using integration as a way to benefit us like the other nations do. Because if you notice, when integration came, every other culture stood the same. But they're using integration as a business because the Caucasian man is a businessman first. Everything he's done is a commercial transaction. Okay? He's not creating laws for the Asians because he just likes sushi. He understands, okay, I'm getting my stuff manufactured over there. And in turn, I'm also, what I'm getting from them is also, I'm getting that they got some of the best doctors, they got some of the best engineers. So I got to make sure that I protect my profit. I got to make sure I protect that shit, right? It's like if you go to a strip club. You're not throwing the dollars after strippers because, you know, you like her. You're throwing the dollars because she providing you entertainment. She getting butt naked, right? And she's calling your daddy, making her ass clap, not because she likes you, but because you're giving her profit. You both are doing a commercial transaction. So that's why if the strip club is gonna get turned down and you know all those girls are in there, you're gonna fight for that, right? Because that's where your income is going. That's where your income is going. Like you're benefiting from that. So the similar with the white man, he does a business transaction with everybody, and all the other nations make the same thing with him. The problem with black men, we were trying to make an equality transaction. We want to be your friend. And then we get stunned when our women leave to go to the other race of men, but you just told her that he's superior. You feel what I'm saying? You just told her that. And what further proves, because when I would see that we created Black Wall Street, I said that we created Black Wall Street because the white men didn't want to be around us. And what further proves that is when they passed integration, we left our community. We left everything. Oh, I'm going to call Dr. Umar. You don't have to call Dr. Umar because all you got to do is watch that Nick Cannon interview that he did with Nick Cannon. And even Umar admitted to that we left our community. So how do you expect your women to give you respect and submit to you when they're seeing every single day you're telling them that the white man is superior to me? They're not going to follow you, bro. They're not going to give you respect when you keep telling them over and over again you're fighting for equality from a man that you claim to be superior to you, while the other nations of people, they don't look at the white man as superior to them. Now, yes, you'll have some people within the group. There are some Hispanics that put white people above them. There are some Asians, they do that. But overall, their culture comes first. The white man knows he can't disrespect them the way he could disrespect you. You understand what I'm saying? He knows that he has to give them a level of respect because he understands the ramification that's going to come. Because if he disrespects the Asians, there goes your doctors, there goes your engineers, there goes you producing stuff for cheap labor overseas. You disrespect the Hispanic, there goes your workforce in America. If you disrespect the Arabs, there goes your oil. Everybody has a commercial transaction. That's the whole point of integration, to use as a business. And that's why their women give them respect, because their women understand that when push comes to shove, their men are going to come to their aid. Now, black guys will sit here and say that, and this for most black guys, they'll talk about, it's not just the men, the passport bros, most dudes, they'll say that, well, you know, we can't protect the black girls because they're not giving us submission. And I agree. Women need to give you submission in order to get protection. But how can you get submission when you don't have the power? You don't have no order. Do you have the protection to provide? Do you have that? You don't even have it. There is an interview that I saw with 50 Cent. And he said one of the main things that caused a division within G Unit was when, like, for instance, let's say Lloyd Banks is with his homeboys, right? He's with his homeboys, and they're like, Lloyd Banks is the man. He's the man. But when 50 would walk through the door, they're like, wait a minute, you're not the man. 50's the man. Black women look at black men in the same way that Lloyd Banks' homeboys look at him. Yeah, you that nigga, you got all them bars, we know that. But when 50 Cent walks through the door, the white man, we see the fear that you have in your eyes of him. We see how much you want to be equal to him. See, when Alejandra looks at Rico, she know that Rico gonna kill Pedro, but Rico got the same bullets for Chris, Ahmad, and Lee. When Ling Ling is looking at Ching Mong Lu, she know that Ching Mong Lu is gonna kill Jet Li, but he'll have the same heat for Christopher, for Hakeem, and for Ahmad, and so on and so forth. But you'll kill your own brothers, but when it's the white man, you want to have a conversation. How can you expect your women to give you respect when they say that you're fearful of another man? Another example, if you have ever got your ass whooped in front of your girl, or if you know of a man that got his ass whooped in front of his girl, what do you see tend to happen usually afterwards? In the beginning, the girl's gonna look out for the boy. She's gonna like, that's my boo, he did his thing. But what ends up happening later on in that relationship? She starts to disrespect him. And then that guy is like, what the fuck is going on? Why she changed up? She didn't change up. She's going by her nature. There are 3 things that galvanize women. And that's emotion, survival, and order. Okay? So when your women see that you're being conquered by another man, they go into survival mode. The woman is the ultimate survivalist. The ultimate survivalist. No matter what it is, she's going to do whatever she can to keep herself alive. And when you not only get conquered by another man, but you keep reassuring to her that that man is supreme over you, all you're doing is having the tick-tock. It's like a timer ticking before it destroys itself and when she goes off. That's why, again, it was so easy for those women to go on welfare checks. It'd been one thing if black men were to say, okay, sisters, they just passed integration. Okay, so what? No, I'm just saying that we don't have to drive 3 hours to go. I'm not saying I have to actually drive 3 hours, but you don't have to drive a certain amount of time to go to the bathroom. You can actually go to the same bathroom with the Caucasian. I mean, we don't give a shit. I mean, we like being around our people. No, listen. We're going to use this to our advantage because they want our sons to play for their school. Oh, hell no, my baby ain't going to that school. Sister, listen. They want our sons to go play for their school because we're the more talented. We're going to use that to our advantage. And we're going to make sure that they give our sons compensation. And then we're going to bring that compensation back to the community to fuel our community. If they want something from us, we damn sure will get something from them. That's how every other nation of man operates. You want something from me, white man? You give me this Asian man. You want something from me, Hispanic man? You give me something Arab. And so on and so forth. You're the only ones that give, all because of equality. You keep begging for the Oscars. You keep begging for the Grammys. You keep begging to be a part of all these white productions. You keep talking about there's not enough black people in Marvel because a white man created Marvel. You saying that there's not enough black people in Marvel is the equivalent of a Hispanic talking about, hey, papi, how come there's not enough Latinos in Naruto? Because it's a Japanese anime, nigga. What the fuck is you asking me, bro? Why don't you go make your own shit? So you guys keep doing this shit over and over again. So you have the fact that you guys have no power. You keep asking another man to be in control. You pretty much are docile. You have all these things and you expect your women to respect you in the same way the other race of women respect their men. That is never going to happen. Ever. Okay? There's nothing wrong with interracially dating. But there's a reason why these dates never really last. And the thing that's sad about it is that white girl that you're dating, she probably likes you just for you. But for some reason, you feel the need to be like, oh, black girls ain't shit and this, that, and the third. Or that Asian guy that you're dating, he actually likes you. But you as a Latina, Latino men ain't shit. Why do you feel the need to say some shit like that? You're dealing with some problems that you have not finished yet. So overall, my whole thing on the passport bros is just a weak mentality. And the thing that's even more funny is that the women that they end up dating that's outside their race, they treat them even worse. I've seen videos of Asian girls calling y'all nigger. I've seen videos of white girls shooting you guys up. I've seen videos of Latinas smacking you, and y'all just trying to talk about, baby, relax. Okay, she's not submissive, I'm gonna go somewhere else. But that's not the point. That's why I heard that they were like, oh, us passport bros are losing. Yeah, because the people of those countries, they're realizing, why the fuck you coming over there? You talking as if the women are docile. It's like, bro, just because a woman is questioning you does not make her non-submissive. When you're a king, your subordinates are always going to question you. That's just what happens naturally. You understand what I'm saying? That's just what happens naturally. But that's pretty much my take on the whole the passport bros thing. If I'm wrong about something, please educate me. If I'm wrong, just give me, because to me, it just doesn't make any sense on why people would think like that. If you're having issues with your own said people, just go get some psychiatric help. Demonizing your people is not going to fix it, because your ancestors, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, they're always going to come back at you, because nobody respects people that disrespects their own race of people. Shalom. Praise to the Most High.